Well, Mark, you've now been in the mining sector for the last 11 years and primarily doing an awful lot of work in that mining maintenance sector and space. Obviously, frequently out with customers, be that in their offices, workshops, the mine sites as well, across the east coast of Australia and abroad. But I just sort of wanted to ask you, what are you seeing in that maintenance space at the moment across mining? What sort of trends or themes you're seeing across your customer base?
Yeah, thanks, Shaun. I guess, being on site with customers over the last few months, there's definitely a significant increase in requirement for trades, skilled trades. So your diesel fitters, your auto electricians, your high voltage electricians, the clients are demanding more and more labour. And I guess the demand's only going to get stronger over the next 6 months.
And, what sort of themes or trends you're sort of seeing within that? I mean, historically, things like rosters, obviously the base rates of pay, other benefits, training, career progression, those sorts of things sort of come into the equation in terms of trying to attract and retain people given the market's so tight. But, I mean, anything specific that you're seeing in that regard?
Yeah, I would say sort of, an hourly rate for, let's say, a diesel fitter would be something around the $60 an hour mark as an average. I guess your larger sort of tier one mining companies, one of the things they're able to do is definitely offer that career progression, where you probably start on the tools and then over a period of time you can sort of move up the ladder to sort of leading hand supervisory type roles. I guess with your smaller, let's say your maintenance sort of contracting companies, generally they can pay a little bit higher than that and give them the flexibility to move into sort of various locations, whether nationally or even internationally with some companies. So there's definitely there's bonuses for both sort of sides depending on what sort of path you want to take. And
you're saying for some of the specialists, tradespeople, whether it's your digger or drill fitter type candidates, they can be earning sort of upwards of sort of 65 for the high-end diagnostic type tradespeople.
Yeah, definitely 65 an hour is attainable. Even sort of higher. It depends on what your value add is. If you're a specialist in diagnosing a particular machine, I've heard stories where people are getting around 70. So it depends, I guess, how quick you can fix something like an excavator, like you said, or a drill. There's some gurus out there who can demand much more higher rate.
And on average, you're seeing rates, obviously the Western Australian market's the other major mining market, and your colleagues over there, you're seeing the rates over there just maybe marginally higher per hour?
Definitely. My colleague Justin in the West, in Perth, they're paying anything between sort of $65 and $72 an hour for fitters on a 2-in-1 roster. So the demand for labour over there is just as high as what it is on the East Coast. So I've known some companies are now paying for flights from the East Coast over to Perth. We're in a tight market when companies are starting to offer flights again.
Yeah, we've seen that in the last boom, didn't we, with companies even getting their own charter flights, private charter flights from Brisbane into the sites that can cater for the big jets and whatnot. So it sounds like we're going back to that sort of market. But, I mean, what sort of recommendations would you offer or suggest to clients seeking to get their hands on talent, but, maybe even just to retain the great talent they've got already? Any sort of key tips you'd offer in that regard from what you're seeing?
Yeah, I guess it all comes down to culture a lot of the time. Sort of when I'm speaking to some of these organisations, the way they're retaining their people, they've got good supervisors at that senior level. So generally, people on the tools, they'll work and put in a good day's work as long as they've got the right people working alongside them and they've got the respect of their supervisor or leading hand. So it's important to make sure, I guess, you get the right people on the bus and it's the right organisation. So culture fit is really crucial. I guess companies as well, that career development path is really important. So dollars and cents are, but eventually, people don't want to be on the tools forever. When they're sort of 50 plus, they want to have a path where they're sort of more in a capacity off the tools where they're advising and supporting the workforce. So I guess, if there's companies out there which have got career paths in place, that's great. I guess what we're doing to sort of combat the skills gap as well at the moment is we're working with a couple of players out there at the moment, which we've got a program called Trade Upskilling, and we're grabbing people from different sort of backgrounds. So there'll be trade qualified individuals, male or female, and they'll be coming from other industries like the defence force, rail, civil background, agricultural industries, and we're, putting them into, some of these mine sites in a workshop, and they're starting sort of at the lower basic stuff, servicing equipment, but over 6 months they're, getting more and more training behind them, and then they're classed as an experienced diesel fitter after 6 months. So upskilling, the current workforce, as well as obviously bringing people in from different industries, working really well, in that regard, Shaun. Yeah.
Fantastic. I think some good points here. I think building on one of the first comment you made, I think we are also seeing our customers focus a lot on upskilling and developing their frontline leadership team to attract and retain staff. I think seeing that as a pivotal part of a business to ensure that people feel like they're working for strong, capable frontline leaders. I think the other thing you may not have touched on is just the recruitment process, trying to streamline that as much as possible. These great tradespeople at the moment have got numerous opportunities at any given time, so making sure the recruitment process is pretty fluid and not taking any longer than it needs to be without jeopardising the integrity of the process. And I think the other thing that we're starting to see, and we've seen this in the last boom as well, is some international recruitment. So, places like the UK, America, Canada, New Zealand, but also Philippines. And obviously we're doing a lot of that Filipino recruitment into New Zealand and other locations at the moment as well. So some good points you make there. Just to sort of wrap up, Mark, any sort of take on your prediction about market conditions over the next few months, whether it'll be more of the same or whether it's going to get tighter? Anything you can sort of touch on there?
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely it's going to be tighter. We've got probably in Queensland at least 4 projects which are going to kick off in the next 6 months. Down in New South Wales as well, there's at least a couple more projects in the pipeline. So that's definitely going to put more issues on the supply and demand of quality tradespersons. So it'll get tighter, and I dare say rates of pay might go up by an extra 10%. We'll just wait and see.
And just sort of wrapping things up, anything else you want us to leave the listeners with today, mate?
Obviously, I've been out in Queensland, New South Wales over the last few months, catching up with a heap of mining clients. So, if anybody wants to arrange a meeting, feel free to get in touch, and happy sort of to go into more detail on some of these attraction and retention conversations we've had today.
And likewise, any sort of candidates sort of interesting to understand what different opportunities are out there, welcome to just reach out to yourself or one of your team members.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Excellent. Cool. Thanks for making those comments. Some good points to leave the listeners with.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.